Приветствую всех, кто к нам подключился. Мы продолжим сегодня.
Let me welcome all the viewers. Today we're going to talk about human capital. The basis of human capital is education. Today we're going to talk with Mr. Serik Irsaliev, the president of Astana International University. Thank you, Mr. Serik. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Serik. I would like to ask this question. Ronald Reagan, in his times, he just proclaimed the thesis that the nation is in danger. How would you estimate the condition of our nation? It's a really deep question. I will definitely answer it, and I would like to take an opportunity. And from this very platform, I would like to congratulate our teachers today. The greatest holiday in the world is Teachers' Day. It's an international Teachers' Day will be tomorrow, but today is a Kazakhstani Teachers' Day. It's a really important day, especially in the context of human capital. Within those things that were mentioned by Ronald Reagan. But why? Because the society cannot be more educated than its people. And people could not be more improved by its education system, but the system itself could not be more improved by the system where teachers operate. So the circle is encircled. The future of our society is in teachers' hands. Happy holiday, dear teachers. I may join our teachers. Now, talking about Ronald Reagan and his remark, it was a 7-minute speech on the radio, and I would like to start with a more profound historic retrospectives on this particular topic. In fact, in life, we have, many states, many nations and companies, or maybe enterprises, and in the individual's life, there is sort of range of priorities that they would like to follow. Well, there are some waves of events that really cover us and distract us from the top task. In 1962, JFK, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, addressed the U.S. Congress, well, more or less with the same remark. In a nutshell, it was about that the state has not more topical thing than education. The education is the basis of social-economical development. In fact, thousands of young people at that time in the US, they were undereducated. So exactly this particular fact is extremely hazardous to the US. The gaps in education, they result in disparity, dependence. So it is necessary to do something. The recipes were simple, as said by John Kennedy. We have to develop and improve the infrastructure. You have to retrain your teaching staff, your faculty, and provide them with necessary salaries. I would like to quote him in the Teachers' Day. If it's possible to do, he said, literally the following: the salary of teachers will increase, but it's not high enough to attract talents to the profession. That's the key thing. But we trust them, the most valuable and precious thing we have, our children. And on behalf, I would like to add, and our grandchildren. So we have to train our teachers, to teach them, to retrain. It was like a preface to the global education remark. So probably in terms of historical, it was put like a priority number one in the national policy. Other waves of the events they covered and diluted such chance. Since they experienced Caribbean crisis, then Kennedy was assassinated after 20 years. So, and what? Now Ronald Reagan, now it's his turn. Before one and a half year since he started his office, they just came to a conclusion, just few figures that he mentioned in his address. In 20 years in the United States, starting 1960 when JFK made his speech, the federal funding increased by 17 times, and academic SITs has decreased by 50 scores on STEM sciences, on natural sciences. Admiral of fleet and businessmen were really in trouble with the pupils and that just graduated from schools. So if you're on the military vessel, you have a sort of instruction. They were not able even to read it. They have to retrain such stuff. So the nation was in danger. So the educational endeavors were worse than endeavors of his parents. Some years ago, their educational system was the best. Now it's been degraded heavily. So all these remarks were so familiar to us. It's really, you're really making a picture that we're talking about Kyrgyzstan now. No, well, what he has also mentioned, you have to develop the infrastructure. The recipes are all the same. They are all in place. You have to qualify people and increase their salaries. That also echoes my first words about the Teachers' Day. Nowadays situation, nowadays realm, how does it? Well, basically, it's sort of a remake of the remark the nation is in danger. It's a real fact. It's not alarmism or something. Yesterday when we were discussing human capital, I didn't have, unfortunately, an opportunity to enlighten this issue in details. Now, 5 comparative studies, like just I mentioned yesterday, and were published recently. That's a PISA. Our pupils were part of PIAT. That's the another test, and ISAS. That's a digital literacy. And US News, that's the 5th comparative studies. They published 2 ratings out of 73 countries. We were ranked the lowest. And the education rating, we were 3rd from the below. So of course we could doubt the methodology. Of course you can doubt it. My colleagues tell me something went wrong there. It couldn't be the case that we turned out to be an outsider. No, that couldn't be the case. But the methodology is really very simple. It's plain. But we have questions with regards to how we educate and teach our people, teach our children, and if they answer that way, and if such results were assessed in the neighboring countries, probably something wrong with the methodology or with people, or maybe there are some questions to the system, to the education system. Once again, let me highlight those 5 comparative studies really say that the nation is in danger. We are degrading. We're degrading our scientific potential. How about literacy, reading literacy? So the assessments is not only about reading, it's also about understanding of the text, analysis and understanding of the essence of the text. If you take a generation of ours, so the most advanced was my education, 55, 60 years, where there is a gap from our OECD countries only by 15. Your generation is 25. It's behind by 45 scores, almost 3 times. Yes, so there at every generation in OECD country is more advanced, more improved. In our country, it's the contrary. We have a picture where our scores is going lower. Now, supported by Soros Kazakhstan Foundation, we're making research on why we have such low scores in these assessments. And with regards to this particular remark, that the nation is in danger, is being degraded, and throughout the globe there is a close correlation of education with the results of the parents' literacy. The more educated parents are, the better their children study. We don't have such correlation. So even here we're on the contrary, opposite position. Yes, but what's the reason? What's the root cause for that? There are some very educated people, very educated parents with MBAs or even PhDs, or there are some undereducated. It does not affect by any means the literacy of our kids. So it says that our education system 20 years ago, for that parents that have 15 years kids, was equally bad, as bad that it was it was all the same to the people who does not have any, do not have any education. Or it says that our schools are so good, almost the best, which is controversial. You can daydream that most educated parents enroll their children into bad schools, and on the contrary, undereducated parents could enroll their children to the best schools. In fact, such issue requires an in-depth studies. So we questioned our best experts in the field of education, in the field of state regulations and policies, and we also questioned some international experts. We identified 6 factors on why we have a degraded education. Low funding, first of all, that we mentioned yesterday. There are some issues with regards to quality of the educational system and teaching. There are some problems with curricula. There are issues in school and educational infrastructure as a whole. And there are, of course, issues of inequality. When we talk, well, if we split them in quantiles by parents' wealth, by parents, well, if parents are wealthy enough, they have a separate table, separate internet connection, separate table. They have capability to hire some tutors. And we've compared parents who, for example, working as a cleaner, so that the inequality may result in 3 or 4 educational years of the same age. So there are some questions. The end of our study is planned in November, and we'll be pleased to present it to the society. I'm not telling that it's absolutely something brand new for the government, for the Minister of Science, and for the nation as a whole. There is a clear understanding. I mean, the top levels of such issues, but what's the third party, what kind of problem I see. For the long period of time I've been working in the system, in the Ministry of Science and Education, and I know how hard it is to work there. And now going back to historical things, if the state once upon a time, once in his history, will prioritize education as the top priority, and it will be a daily routine priority for us for a long-term run, then all other problems that arise in the state, they will be addressed as they go. Because the drug addiction, corruption, and all other bad things in the decriminalization in the state that also results. In the basis, they have only one root, which is under education, low, poor quality of education. I'm about to complete my book, and I just called it "Remake a Nation in Danger," Kazakhstani context. That's the way I call it, just to analyze what's going on in our society. Basically, why every year we have bank ruined, why we have plane crashes and helicopter crashes on a routine basis, why do we have some domestic conflicts that turned into inter-ethnical conflicts. So the root cause is education, our poor level of our education that is proved by our studies. And as long as this fundamental reason is there, in all the rest things will work in a very alarmistic and a very active way, but not in proactive. We have numerous issues, numerous problems, but yet if we are not able to address in the long-term run to focus on education, things will continue. Mr. Serik, thank you so much. There is plenty room to think about. I hope that our fest, Nobel Fest, is still young, but I think we do make a significant input into the educational system. Please stay tuned. We have now our first session, which is